On the 24th of February, the government announced they would be considering new plans for proposed changes to higher education. Some of these changes would include minimum entry requirements for universities and a cap on the amount of places available. Whilst the government says they wish to make a fairer system which improves access for all, some do not agree with the proposed changes. Members from Sheffield Solidarity Group gathered outside the Department of Education offices on the 3rd of May, protesting the changes, believing they will only create further barriers.
NUS have launched a campaign to reject the consultation, which is going to add further barriers to education. It's going to increase the amount of money that people have to pay back in student finance and also limit the amount of finance that people can get and who can access it. We want the NUS to reaffirm their position on the abolition of tuition fees. They're a barrier to education and they're a barrier to opportunity. They've got no place in education. All they do is serve to fuel the financialisation of education.
Ministers say the proposed plans aim to encourage students to consider apprenticeships and other forms of higher education instead of going to university. We spoke to staff and students at the University of Sheffield about their thoughts on the proposed plans.
I think university is just not about getting a job. I think it's like about the skills you learn, so like living independently and like meeting like people from a range of backgrounds. So I think whilst particularly the universities having minimum entry requirements, I think that it's important to kind of widen access to university as much as possible. And I think apprenticeships are great and that sort of thing, but I don't think you learn the same sort of life skills as going to university.
Young people should be given more options and have them really hammered home to them from a young age that you don't have to go to university. There are other options. I didn't go to university myself. I really wanted to, but it didn't work out financially. So I started being a journalist when I was 19 and I worked my way up. I became an editor when I was 33. So I think I'd say to any young person, you don't have to go to university. I do think it's a brilliant experience and I can completely understand why lots of people do want to go, but there are other options out there and they should really consider all of the options before they decide what they want to do. I'm not sure this is the best way of doing it. The government proposals are the best way of doing it, but I guess we've got to try and get the message out somehow. So I'll be interested to see what impact it has in the long term.